Hello everybody, my name is Ito and I am happy to bring you an absolute banger of a match coming up. This is going to be Polar Ace South versus Third Impact. Both these teams are currently undefeated in ESEA Advanced Season 33. And after tonight, that will no longer be the spotless record that they're looking for. Third Impact already off to a good start, winning that knife round with two players left alive, and will choose to start on that CT side as well. But I mean, what can you even say heading into this game? Third Impact have been absolutely on fire. Tons of players have been stepping up massively in their own individual ways. In the past couple of games, it's been AGM really making his presence known in the server in pretty much all sorts of ways, getting tons of frags, just setting his team up for victory in every sort of fashion. And, I mean, really, there's been no slouches on the side of Polar Ace either. I mean, both of them, again, do have a spotless record at the moment, and right now, it looks like they just want to go for their standard default, the T side here, taking a little bit of early banana control as they slowly start pushing up. Figment, first man in at the moment, but still no utility thrown. First flashbang goes through. Second one, as they just want to storm into this site here. Dangerous currently playing a little bit of a cheeky position over by Second Oranges. Will find one. As his teammate falls, he needs to go bigger. Unfortunately, he won't go big. Instead, he will go home, and the site is immediately taken over by Polar Ace. So off to a really hot start here. However, the retake will begin very, very quickly as well. Douglas immediately takes down AB, first man in, but still 3 versus 2. Still plenty of more action to go. Douglas will retrieve the kit from his fallen comrade, but still they really need the kills more than anything at the moment, and they seem to be struggling to do exactly that. So Polar Ace get off to a really hot start, only dropping 2 players on that pistol and make it 1-0 early on in Inferno. And that's always so strong when the T's are able to win the pistol round in a dominant fashion like that, because the fact that it wasn't really that much of a nail-biter for Polar Ace as well makes it that Third Impact are going to really struggle to justify trying to buy into this one here. You see that they aren't sold by the idea of it, and they're just going to go for a couple of upgrade pistols and a healthy amount of utility as well. 5 smokes. A little bit of HEs. I thought it was 5 HEs, but no, it's 5 smokes. So definitely just trying to stall for time and try to take the fights that they want. But they're investing every last dollar into this one, Third Impact, so they most definitely have very high hopes for this round here. Because you definitely wouldn't want to justify spending that much money on a round that you think is lost. They think they have a chance to early on shatter the economy of Polar Ace here. It's not looking exactly likely for them just for the time being. The artillery massively favors Polar Ace. But we've seen crazier things from all these players. Who's to say we won't be victim of another miracle? Default at the moment for both teams. An early rotate comes over towards B before this push begins. However, it seems like action is actually making its way towards the other site. Or is it? They seem to have second thoughts about it and maybe actually want to bring this towards B. You see Tacitus is actually front man in. With this MAC-10 could cause quite a bit of chaos, but unfortunately gets punished. And actually, it's the other way around. The crossfire is perfect so far from Third Impact here. They've stayed alive, and they've gone huge so far. Dangerous is searching for another kill, but it'll be AGM to seal it away, and this is why you can never count Third Impact out. They took a gamble with these pistols, and it seems to be doing them perfectly well so far. AB is stuck versus 3. He'll find the 1, no problem. But it's a second fight that really takes him out of the picture. Third Impact even things up. And, I mean, I kind of had my doubts about Third Impact buying into that one. But it seems like the smokes in particular really played to almost every advantage that Third Impact could hope for. I was a little bit confused about what Tacitus was doing, kind of pushing in there with the MAC-10 up through the smoke while having no idea where the CTs were located. I mean, sure, he's on the one, or he's the player on the team that is currently undefeated in advance. I mean, I am just a lowly caster in comparison, but it felt like a kind of a risky gamble considering that Third Impact, they didn't exactly look favored to win that one. But back to the default we go here. Polar Ace, it looks like they're going to be trying their hand at just looking for picks at the moment. Ara, it looks like he's setting up for a smoke. Or a flashbang, perhaps. Maybe a pop up through mid. Swan and Tacitus. One with a bomb in tow. We'll get flashed in and look for a vital kill or two. Third Impact will not budge for the time being, though. AGM is just playing safely around arches, and JoJo up on that balcony. It's a lonely position. He's going to have to make some friends here. Has a tease start crumbling into the site here. He'll find one, a second, and a third one as well. And it's just kind of a firing range at the moment. AB will be the last one left alive, as he manages to pick up 2, but still a 1-on-3 and a good amount of damage early on from Polar Ace. Yeah, considering their investment into this wasn't absolutely crazy, but you have to hope for a little bit more, which AB will be unable to bring us, unfortunately. Third Impact go up on 2 and take the lead early on. Off to a pretty hot start. Third Impact. I think it's really also important to mention that, again, they only did drop 2 players in the midst of things there. If they dropped any more, then their economy could become really, really shattered, and Polar Ace could just kind of outlast them. That is avoided for the time being. Polar Ace will be stuck on not even upgrade pistols, just pistols. Glocks across the board with a single flashbang in Tacitus's hands. And they already have eaten a healthy amount of shrapnel to the face here. Those HEs are dangerous. T. Connors and Dangerous will set down a welcoming mat in the form of a Molotov, and Polar Ace will dare not go through. And AGM will come up from behind and cause chaos of his own as well. Douglas gets in the picture with a kill of his. And now it's a 1-on-5. Impossible task for Swan. Maybe if he can just get a gun, he won't even have a chance of doing that. He could have maybe caused a little bit of chaos, but it falls flat on its face in Third Impact. They're on 3 now. Again, there's still plenty of Counter-Strike to be played. This was, that was a round that Polar Ace most definitely should have, or Third Impact most definitely should have won. If they even managed to drop more than 1 or 2 players, I would have been severely appalled, just because Polar Ace had basically nothing to work with. Interesting to note that Third Impact are currently committing 3 players early towards B with a flash in. T. Connors is pushing right through with an MP9, and oh, it's good for 2. Fully blinded. Who can blame Polar Ace for falling that early here? It's a perfect setup from Third Impact early on in this round. Still well over a minute in play and already 2 players down. Smoke through of Swan. Now it's just waiting towards ramp. That jump actually caught him off guard and got him dinked down. And it's just looking terrible for Polar Ace at the moment. They're looking to go down with it without even having a chance to swing or make any sort of impact in this round. 5-on-2. It's going to have to be a miracle for Polar Ace if they want to drag their way into this one here. What is their best opportunity? You notice that a player has actually dropped on Polar Ace, so maybe they just do want to play this slowly until that player gets back in the picture. Otherwise, we will see a pause, and I can actually read chat for the first time this game. But action in hand at the moment. Swan currently located over towards balcony, looking to try to get out, get that bomb down. That would be their best and possibly only chance to make an impact on this round. But the Third Impact strikes, and it's AGM with another kill on the board, and it's a flawless one from Third Impact as well. Can't get much cleaner than that. The CTs dominate, and Polar Ace, they're going to call a pause, wait for their player to come back in, and also talk about what the hell you can even do, because that was their first really good chance back into this game early on. And the fact that Third Impact, not only did they win it, but they won it extremely dominatingly. Is that a word? Dominantly, I think that's the word I'm looking for. I mean, that's not very promising. Still plenty of more Counter-Strike to get played. Flippy Bits says, I see your lerps, Kappa. I publicly released some, and Flippy Bits, I love watching your stream for some games that I'm unable to cast, by the way, so thank you for what you do. I think you're a good streamer. Anyway, unpause comes through. Tacitus is now back in the picture. CZ75 to call his own, but Third Impact, I mean, you could tell a CT side is going really well when you have 4 AKs on the opposite side where you're supposed to have AKs. I mean, you can't get much better than that. They're also starting to really build up a healthy amount of money. Even if they lose this and the follow-up round in really dominant fashion by some crazy strokes of luck, they still will be healthy for rounds to come. Father 3 Boys says, time to regroup, and surely Polar Ace are thinking the same thing. This might not be the round that they're going to come out on top of just because the sheer disadvantage that they're facing down the barrel of. But they're going to go ahead and Go down swinging, something that they've struggled with on that past gun round. Maybe they can do a little bit more damage with pistols here. Jojo is going to be watching over towards balcony, but he's going to have a triple man lineup to worry about. He'll only find one. Now Douglas waiting in pit will be relegated to have to deal with it, and the setup is perfect. Polar Ace are staying alive, or we're staying alive for a good amount of time early on, but as soon as they walked into the crosshairs of the CTs, it was all downhill from there. Now we have third impact going up on 5. Polar Ace, no response so far, but again, that was just an eco round that they're on. They're on pistols, but they invested a good amount of money into that one. Bought plenty of utility. And, I mean, all things considered, not too terrible. They're still going to be able to buy into this next round here, but this is where it can really kind of decide the ebb and flow of this half here. What is AGM doing here? I want to keep an eye on this. I love this little boost up towards T-ramp at the moment. If it could catch someone off guard, that would be nasty, but unfortunately, he becomes the victim instead here. Swan peeking out mid, goes for his best, walks the compression, but it's unable to work out for him. Douglas punishes it. Now it's a 4-on-4. Polar Ace, they're already putting up a little bit more of a fight than we saw in that first gun round. There's still plenty of time to play with. A little over a minute 10 seconds. Bomb isn't in their hand, but they can easily retrieve it and bring it wherever they please. It's seeming like B at the moment. They've actually disengaged all players from A and mid. Third impact, though, are playing very anchoring positions, I should say. Both located in pit at the moment here. So this would actually be a good shot for Polar Ace, not only to get the bomb down, but would also be massively favored on this retake should third impact go for it. They have healthy money. There's almost no reason they shouldn't, but it's all about execution here, and T. Connors is sure to execute all the T's that try to pose a challenge to him. Molotov smokes and all the works come through. T. Connors still located on top of this flower pot, was actually not getting spotted for the first player, but the second man in does the job just fine, and Dangerous won't bother to peek his face until the fight is brought to him, and he picks up another one, AB. That's a gorgeous display from him. Picks up a 2K for the round and has nearly just secured it. Third impact, they aren't even going to bother to go for this retake. They are very unfavored in it, especially with 2 snipers. And AB, unbelievable play. An A for performance. That's for sure. So that'll be Polar Ace going up on their second, and a much needed one as well. Again, I mentioned this was one of the most important rounds, at least early on in this game, for Polar Ace to come out on top of, and they don't fail to deliver. They only drop a single player in it. And even Swan did his job. Polar Ace, though, they're still not out of the woods just yet. Third impact still have plenty of money. They're able to buy right back into this one here. Polar Ace, they'll be going right back to that full loss bonus if they don't win this one here. Or, at the very least, make it close. Get that bomb down, something like that. I mean, it's still kind of a little bit of a worrying situation. Polar Ace, sure, they might be able to buy despite everything, but it might not be the most pretty. Miss flash from Tacitus, but he'll go for seconds. Peek in. Nothing spotted. Dangerous doesn't want to take that fight either. Molotov comes through, and nice wallbang onto Tacitus. Early damage caused, and if you've watched my stream before, you know one of my favorite things to mention is that puts that player within a one-shot range of that M4, which can actually be pretty important considering how many are in play on third impact side. All grouping up over towards Banana at the moment. Polar Ace just might walk into the loving crosshairs of Dangerous. The first face most likely will be Tacitus. They set up for a CT smoke, fully blind. Dangerous has absolutely zero response to it. And pushing through the smoke, Tacitus, he's hit by the Molotov, but that won't ward him off. Through the fire and the flames, he carries on. And that's another bomb planted and another almost secured round by Polar Ace. Make it 5-3. And it's starting to look better and better as time goes on for them. This time they improve even beyond the performance that they had the first time around. They don't drop a single player this time. And now they have officially avoided the scare. Now Polar Ace, just because of how well this round has been going, and especially if they don't drop any guns at the end of the day, they will be healthy for rounds to come. AB just might be on the chopping block, though. I think he might have spotted the shadow of Douglas. He's going to check every corner, and there you are. AB plays with his food a little bit. He picks up one. AGM runs for dear life, but AB, he's hungry for it. unfortunately will not get the blood that he hopes for. 5-3 now. Polar Ace are looking better and better. A shaky start, to be sure. They seem to have calmed their nerves a little bit. Now 2 back-to-back. Third Impact, their money's starting to wear... Actually, it's not even close to being as thin as I thought. Just them saving all those guns has really done them good. You see that they try to switch up the setup, though, Third Impact. You see that they're dedicating a lot of players over towards top banana at the moment. 3 players, to be in fact. To be accurate. It looks like T. Connors might have second thoughts about wanting to peek down through half wall here. AGM slowly peers into the smoke, looking for a Figment. But the fishing play will not work. Polar Ace will not budge or peek any sight lines. Towards mid they go. Swan is actually watching for banana at the moment for any pushes. Smoke comes through, so Swan might be alerted to something going wrong. He tosses a shot through, but Polar Ace, I mean, they seem to have a right read on the situation here. They're not even going to bother to try to take that banana control. Rotates will quickly come through from Third Impact over towards the A site. Polar Ace is already looking to execute onto this, and Third Impact might exactly have the one-up in this sort of scenario as well. Douglas is able to find that first kill back onto site safely here. Ara is unable to trade it out at the moment here. AGM is going to do one better and actually take him down as well. So it's a 3 versus 4. This retake isn't even going to be a potential problem for Third Impact. Polar Ace have been so good about getting that bomb down, but they are just completely shut out of the site. A site is closed. Third Impact completely evict Polar Ace out of this round and strike right back with something dominant of their own. And that was something of a secure round from them. Third Impact strike right back again, only dropping a player. They're looking awfully poised. Those rotate, or that rotate, excuse me, was super, it was quick and honestly just had such a good read on the scenario as well. This time the fight is going to be brought to them over towards B, but they'll be already out of the equation before Polar Ace are able to solve the problem. 2 players tagged down to 27 and 36 respectively. So they're already bleeding internally a little bit. 2 M4s in play. Again, as I like to mention, those are both one-shot potential players. 4 Kriegs across the table for Polar Ace as well. So they definitely are kind of investing all their marbles into this one here. Doesn't seem to get off to the start that they want, though. AGM picks off one with a sniper. He's off to a hot start. 11 and 4 at the moment. Seems to want to rotate over to the ace site as well, just kind of watching for any arch pushes. This is best of 1, by the way. I should mention to Lozum in chat. 5 on 4. Polar Ace can still take this wherever they want, but wherever they go, it's going to be kind of a stunted push. Seeing that B is going to be their final destination as they set up for it. Quick Molotov will come through. Dangerous will be the first face here. T. Connors strikes right back, though, takes down Swan. And now the bomb carrier is down. This becomes from hard to a nearly monumental task for Polar Ace to overcome, and they aren't even going to have a shot at it. AB is 1 versus 5, and he's just on borrowed time at the moment. He's hiding in the smoke, hoping for a Metal Gear play. But unfortunately, Third Impact are just too solid. Unbelievable start from them. Third Impact, just when they had a little bit of hiccups in their play, their rotates are just completely indomitable. And they're keeping up the pressure now. Polar Ace, what can they even do? Their money's starting to wear thin now. They're going to have one more buy left into this. For the time being, that is. Full loss bonus into full effect, and Swan already taken out. And this is looking terrible now for Polar Ace. Again, their money wasn't looking promising. Sure, they have that full loss bonus coming through, but then at what point are you going to have to sacrifice utility? If you keep losing rounds in such a devastating fashion like this, it wears you out. It really does. Polar Ace looking for some sort of retaliation as the bomb is still currently located over towards T-Ramp at the moment. But luckily for them, The silver lining is that AGM is no longer breathing down their neck. He's actually watching a completely different angle this time around. I actually kind of like it. Unfortunately, it doesn't bear any fruits for them, so they will choose to back. 5-on-4 now. Third Impact firmly in the driver's seat at the moment, as they now kind of just have to wait. But they can do even better. JoJo just dry peeks into AB and completely obliterates him. Why doesn't that ever work for me? That's unbelievable. Now Polaris are even more downtrodden. Things are going from bad to worse, and might even go from bad to even worse, because AGM is lurking right behind the smoke. AWP in hand, spots one, takes him down. He's unable to get the second, though. Finally, a refrag comes through. Polaris are given just a little bit of a window of opportunity, but it just might be taken out before they have a chance to strike. JoJo finds the first one, and there's a player lurking in pit who just will whittle away the second. It's not the cleanest spray in the world, but with the Kriegs, who gives a damn? With that, Third Impact have officially won the half at 8-3. Any rounds that they get at this point would just be almost salt in the wound for Polaris. And AGM has just been a complete menace so far. Polaris, if you look at the score or the kill differential between them, no player has made their way into double digits. Now, sure, it's also important to mention Tacitus has been he disconnected and reconnected, but still, I don't think he's reached double digits just yet. Meanwhile, AGM, he's just kind of having a field day at the shooting range. A little bit of miscommunication. They smoke off their own Molotov. Or maybe that's some five-head genius play that I'm just not aware of. But either way, AGM will toss down his Molotov this time around. And as the push begins over towards the A site, it actually seems to be some of the most promising luck for Polaris so far. But just like that, it's all whittled away. And it's a 2 versus 3, actually. AB manages to find another one. Maybe there's still life yet, or maybe there isn't. Dangerous shuts me right up, and also just shuts Polaris right up as well, as they go up on 9 this time. And now Polaris will go ahead and call a pause. It's time to talk about things, because this is kind of the point of no return. 9-6 is already a pretty strong half for the CTs, especially after all the economy changes and everything. But if they get even more... Again, it's, as I mentioned, salt in the wound for Polaris. There's still time yet. The game is still young. We're not even through this first half. Don't get me wrong, but it's not looking awfully promising so far. Hopefully this tactical pause is something that Polaris needed, and hopefully it's something that would actually help them. Money is not the issue at the moment. They're going to be able to buy up all the goodies. 4 Kriegs and an AWP in Swan's hand. And I want to keep an eye on this, because Swan versus AGM could be one hell of a battle. Speaking of the man in question, my player to watch and the MVP of the past 2 matches that he's played, he's going to peek down mid. Unfortunately, spots nothing, but he'll go for seconds over towards alt mid. Flashes are perfect, though. It's a lightning storm in his eyes, and he'll be forced out of the picture. Polaris now have a little bit of wiggle room. But again, they're not out of the picture just yet. Smoke through. JoJo will back. And HE just lands right on top of Figment. Luckily, he avoids certain death, but 3 players have rotated already from Third Impact over towards that B site. Bomb is still down from Polaris, so wherever they go, it's still going to be a good amount of time before they actually execute, get the bomb down. T. Connors, though he falls, Dangerous will quickly avenge his fallen comrade in arms and make it a 4-on-4. This does generally favor the T side here, but Dangerous might not want any sort of advantage whatsoever for Polaris here. He nearly taps away at a second player, Figment. Now he had to sustain a bullet to the dome. Stays alive, though, thanks to the logs, and maybe it seems like Polaris want to bring this towards B after all. Bomb has still not been retrieved just yet. Swan will go ahead and take care of that. AGM now lurks behind the car at the moment. Walks into the crosshairs and finds the first. When you don't flash him, he can just have free reign over the site. Unfortunately, though, it's not meant to be. Dangerous now lurks behind the smoke as Polaris enter into the site. Not much time left to spare as they get the bomb down, but Dangerous is probably in the strongest location he could be at the moment. Ara, though, just might cause chaos. How does he lose that fight? That's unbelievable. Now it's a 3 versus 2. Such an unfortunate way to fall. Now this becomes a harder and harder task, but luckily Swan drags him back to reality, finds a second. Can he make it 3, though? He struggles on the shot, but he will be given a second chance. Douglas assassinates his teammate. Now Swan, you cannot miss this one here. He misses the first, and he will miss the second. Unfortunately, Douglas just gets away with murder and theft as well as he steals away the round. And it's such an unfortunate loss, but Douglas, he's no slouch either. 16-3, he adds 2 to his total, as well as 1 to the ticker for his team. 10-3, third impact. It's nothing short of dominance and a masterclass on Inferno at the moment. Though that full loss bonus, again, as I mentioned, Polar Ace are still going to be able to buy for rounds to come here, especially since not only did they cause so much economical damage onto third impact as well, but they did get the bomb down, so they aren't even hurting that much on damage. But what is going on? How did Tacitus just kill himself? They also had a ton of Molotov damage. He looked away for a second, and now it's just a nightmare for Polar Ace. This is terrible. What the hell just happened with Tacitus? Oh, that is really unfortunate, and things are going to get even worse for them too. Douglas finds one, continues the streak of dominance that he had in that last round, and it's all gone terribly wrong for Polar Ace here. There's still over a minute left to play with. 2 of your players are hurting, and 2 of them are down entirely. Figma is the only man that's healthy enough to try to enter into the site, and he'll be good for 1 kill, sure, but AGM will strike right back with his AWP sprayed through the smoke. But he's still alive in this, and they haven't checked all their corners here. T. Connors, though he's flashed, will only find 1 kill to his name before he's forced to kind of duck and weave between the shots of Aura. And speaking of which, it's going to be Aura now stuck versus 3 players. Very tough task, but becomes a little bit more possible now that he's gotten the bomb down. Flash through towards Banana, spots 1 player, but I mean, third impact are just kind of playing with their food at the moment. The taps aren't even close to being good enough. And that will be third impact going up on 11. You can't get much more dominant than this, and Polar Ace are on the unfortunate receiving end of the equation. 11-3, not 16. Perhaps I'm calling my shots a little bit too early here, but Douglas and AGM, as they top the scoreboard, are just looking completely fine at the moment. They are not struggling whatsoever. Douglas is nearly at 16K, which I think is just absolutely disgusting. Not much could be going better for them at the moment here. Polar Ace still have 1 more shot back into this game, but it's not really looking likely. AGM immediately snipes down Swan. I feel like I should just keep the camera on this man, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I would get punished, just like AGM did as he pushed down mid. Jojo refrags his teammate out. Third impact still in the driver's seat here, but a wrap is being called. Douglas is ready for it. He takes out 1. That Krieg just makes it so easy for him. Not only is it just a player out of the equation, but it's a bomb carrier as well, and now this becomes a near impossible task. It's going to have to require a miracle, and a miracle they might be given. They actually make their way onto the site. The rotates are a little bit slow, but they're not winning the gunfights they need. It's only Aura now left. He's found the majority of his kills in the past couple, but he's going to need to make it 6. He'll find 1, can't find the second. The refrag is perfect. Third impact, they pull up with a 12-3 half. Look, I know Inferno is a little bit CT-sided, but this is something else entirely. That is just nothing short of a masterclass from them. As they improve to 12, and a little bit of pause, or not pause, excuse me, a little bit of a break will come through. But right back into the action we go. No breathing room for either of these teams. But third impact are still breathing healthily. Pistol comes through, and this could really make or break the game for Polar Ace, quite obviously. If Polar Ace lose this, they're staring down the barrel of a dominating defeat. What is this? I think a pause was called? I think a pause was called. That, or I don't exactly know what Figment is doing at the moment, but We'll find that out eventually, I'm sure. Tactus has a lot on his plate here as he is currently sitting towards apartments, get flashed through, but unfortunately can't quite make contact with any of the T's. Speaking of which, the T's are all located over towards mid at the moment. They're going to be getting flashed in by their teammates and getting this bomb down. It's as typical of an A push as he can get. However, Tactus has to deal with it in a pretty great fashion. He's not having the best luck at it. JoJo's reigning dominant. Douglas also picks up one, and just nothing seems to be connecting for the CTs except for Figment. He gets 2. It's a little bit of a silver lining for them, but it's a near impossible task as it's a 1-on-3 retake. No chance. Third impact. Get 13. It's just a blistering round, really. Was that a real round? Mochi, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it is. There wasn't any pause being called, and I'm pretty sure, just as strange as it looked, that was the round. I mean, third impact, it just kind of felt like at the end of the day, they were just hitting all their shots. But, yeah, 2 players were AFK. I mean, they didn't call a pause, and there was no action at the time where the pause was called. So I really have no clue on what just happened there. But back to the game in question, third impact. How can you really doubt the performance that they're putting on at the moment? It's pretty dominant. Again, I repeat my words. Polar Ace will force up everything they possibly can, and they're going down to every last dollar. An MP9 and upgraded pistols otherwise. For an impact, perfectly content playing this slow. Try to wring out the last bit of utility that the CTs have to work with here. Meanwhile, Douglas will prod in over towards A. Makes his way into apartments, Douglas. AB was just peeking long hauls, but they just narrowly avoid each other for the time being. Bomb is still not in anyone's hand, so it's still anyone's round. We saw what third impact can kind of show off with only pistols, and what was that shot? I didn't even notice what just happened there, but it was just a tap down. Tactus already out, and well, it's not looking very promising for Polar Ace, is it? It's a 3-on-4. Figment just playing inside the smoke at the moment and ends up being on the receiving end of some nasty spray from Dangerous. And, I mean, this is just kind of a courtesy at this point to get the bomb down. Put the CTs out of their misery here. AGM will go ahead and just cause a little bit of chaos over towards Carr as he picks up 1 and makes it 2 as well. And what can you even say? Third impact. They just reign supreme on the site in the server at the moment. Almost nothing seems to be working out for Polar Ace. It just kind of went all downhill after they lost that eco. Polar Ace. Plague says never count us out, and again, it's hard to count Polar Ace out. These are 2 teams that are completely indomitable in ESEA Advanced at the moment. Both these teams have most definitely deserved their record, but it just kind of feels like third impact are just putting on a masterclass right now. As I mentioned before, it's a firing range over towards mid as well, and it's a bloody battle. Figment will be the last remaining enemy soldier, but he gets turned into a prisoner of war as he falls. Third impact are on 15, and what can he even do now, Polar Ace? They're going to put together everything they possibly can, but this is going to have to be a comeback for the ages. 12 match points. And one hell of a long road ahead of them. AGM and Co. want to close it out right here, right now. It's actually been Douglas leading the server. I should say Douglas and Co. because both of them have been having incredible performances. Tactus right behind sandbags at the moment, loses the duel against the MAC-10. Oh, it's just so unfortunate. I mean, they're just stomping into the site. Finally, Figment will respond with 1, but it's only that 1 kill. 3 versus 4, third impact, just storm into the site, soon to get the bomb down as well. And now Polar Ace, they have to pull off a retake. And not an easy retake at that. Swan just searching for any player who's daring to cross over through the smoke. No such player will budge. Dangerous just might close it out. Notices that Polar Ace most likely are stuck in construction at the moment. He'll find 1. Won't find the second, though. Finally, a refrag comes through. Swan actually pulls off a miracle with that AWP, but time is not in AB's favor at all, and I think it's done. I think it's dusted here. AB is going to have to commit to the bomb, but he has no chance at it. AGM. What a way to close things out. I mean, who else other than AGM? MVP twice. Can't quite get the third time. It was Douglas stealing all the glory, but really, that was nothing short of just a gorgeous performance from Third Impact here. 16-3. Both these teams were 4-0 in ESEA Advanced, and I mean, it just looked like Third Impact were taking on an IM team. It was unbelievable, but that's the way of the road sometimes. Third Impact completely dominate on Inferno to improve to a 5-0 scoreline now in ESEA Advanced. I mean, you can't wish for something much better than that. With that, I mean, I'm actually going to call it till next match, Playgay says, and that's really what they have to look forward to next time. There's still plenty of more action in the season to go. It's not a done deal for either of these players. My personal MVP pick goes towards Douglas just because of that performance, but AGM is not far behind, kind of biting at his heels. I am going to go ahead and call it for tonight, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Ito, and if you enjoyed the stream, feel free to toss a follow. Feel free to really do whatever you wish. It's not my job to really decide what you want to do. I also have a Twitch Prime available if you'd rather do that. Either way, it was a lot of fun to watch this, and Speedy, it was an absolute honor to cast. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great night. Again, my name is Ito. We'll see you very, very soon.